Hey, what's going on everybody? Adam Repos Vox here, back with another quick little editing tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make your videos seem cinematic with the usual method of having black bars, but the right way, as I have a personal pet peeve against the normal way of doing this. So, if you've ever watched a movie, and actually I can pull up a quick rip here of a movie right now. You can see here, the movie itself is not 16 by 9. It is one of a variety of aspect ratios that are widescreen. The upper and lower segments are not filmed at all. They use anamorphic lenses to basically record a 16 by 9 thing that they can stretch out to look fancy. Well, they don't go into their Hollywood video editing bays and drag on a PNG file of some black bars and overlay it on top. No, and I can't stand that anyone does this, and so I want the entire world to stop doing this. If you want to edit a video that, only takes up this much space, then you need to be editing in that actual aspect ratio and resolution for a variety of reasons. First of all, if you edit like this and you render to a too low of a bitrate, or something happens in encoding, or someone watches on a very low bitrate version on YouTube, like 360p or something, the black will actually get muddy because that's actual video footage here, even if it's just a solid black color, and compression can artifact it up, and then that will look terrible for no apparent reason. Second of all, it does not adapt to different size monitors. For example, if you're making a 21 by 9 video and you just add black bars to make it 21 by 9, someone watching it on a 21 by 9 monitor won't be able to view it properly because the video itself is not 21 by 9. The black bars still make it a 16 by 9 video. So they will not only have black bars on the top and bottom, but then they'll have pillar box black bars on the right and left sides as it tries to watch the video, and it will just be a very unenjoyable viewing experience. I actually have a whole video dedicated on this you can check out as well. Thirdly, it takes more data to render out these sections. Now technically it takes less data to render out the sections with the actual black image overlay than the full frame, but it still takes up data that could be going to preserving detail in your frame and, cooperating better with YouTube compression. So avoid black bars like this, or a slightly better option, but still not a great option, is to actually apply a crop to your adjustment layer here, and then say 100 off the top. Oh, that's 100%. 10 off the top, and then 10 off the bottom. And then you'd have to reframe and recrop from, and if you do it with the crop factor, by the way, then if you try to reframe it, it's going to just move things in a very weird direction, and you can't reframe with the adjustment. It gets complicated. The best way to go about this is to actually make presets based on the aspect ratio you want to edit. So make a new sequence, and for example, I have a 21 by 9 1080p preset here, which is 1920 by 810 or 2560 by 1080, or for a proper 1440p 21 by 9 sequence, it is 3440 by 1440, and then you edit in that. And then if you have 21 by 9 footage, you can drag that onto your timeline and it will fit natively, or if you have 16 by 9 footage, then you simply need to just reframe it properly to fit within the composition. Now, if you're doing cinematic aspect ratios, you kind of have to look up cinematic resolutions depending on your actual frame width. For example, cinematic 4K is not the 4096 by 2160 that people would like you to think. For the 3840 width, it's actually, the resolution is 3840 by 1574. And then you can set that to 24 frames per second for your cinematic aspect ratio, and that is actually the cinematic resolution. Or there's no set one. Like I said, there's a bunch of different ones that movies have used over the years, but this is a cinematic 4K aspect ratio that actually makes sense. And then I can save that as cinematic 4K 24 for 4K 24 FPS. And then anytime I want to make a new sequence, instead of using a 16 by 9 composition that isn't going to adapt to people's displays properly, I can make that one. And you can see it's fairly similar width to 21 by 9, but it's not quite 21 by 9 here. And then drag in our tutorial. Then I can't make it any less wide because it's already 3840 width, but I can reframe here And when you render it out, it will render out on YouTube, it'll render out at this size. And then on YouTube, it will adapt it to your display. So whether you're on a 4x3 display, a 16x9 display, a 21x9 display, 16x10, whatever, it will automatically adapt whether, the pillar boxing and letterboxing to fit the display properly. And all of the bit rate, all of your data rate going to your video footage actually goes to data that's, to actual video footage instead of black bars. Like, to me, it is super important, on top of the fact that things don't scale. Like, if you render out a 4x3 video in a 16x9, here, I'll make something real quick here. Let me do, so let's say you recorded, you're making a video in 4x3, so 1280 by 1024, for example, is a a resolution that is 4x3. So we will drag this footage into here. Now this is what if you ever remember the transition period between widescreen and, not widescreen television, you used to end up with a lot of weird situations like this, where if you were watching non-HD channels on your HD TV service, you would get this on top of your widescreen TV, and so it just would be in like the center of the screen. That's specifically what we're trying to avoid here. So if I scale it up, all right, now if I make a normal 16x9. So if this is how you're doing 4x3, where you're pillar boxing it yourself, you're screwing over anyone who actually watches on a 16x10 or 4x3 screen, because you're hard baking these black bars into your video footage, and it screws over anyone with a non 16x9 display. When if you were to actually just make the original 4x3 composition here and render it out that way, then anyone on a 4x3 screen can watch it full screen, no problem. And anyone on a 16x10, or, we're going to see a lot of new aspect ratio monitors soon. It's going to adapt to the display a lot better. So I will post a couple resources where you can get some cinematic aspect ratios and resolutions to make your own custom presets here. But please, please never use black bar PNG overlays ever again. Like, I will tear anyone I know personally a new one for doing it, unless it's in the middle of an edit. Like, if you're doing a normal edit here, and then you want to make something specific, super cinematic, then you can overlay black bars. But otherwise, if your whole video is going to have the black bars over it, you damn well better be actually editing in a widescreen resolution instead of adding a black bar image to your video, like a scrub. Rant over. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Get subscribed for more awesome videos. This video is brought to you by TubeBuddy, the #1 YouTube extension, or, add-on I could possibly ever recommend. I've used it for a couple years now, and it has been the main reason that I have found so much success on YouTube, is due to the tools that it provides. TubeBuddy.com/EvosVox, EvosVox.com/TubeBuddy. Go check it out. I'll see you next time.